It's great to be with you right here on ET Now. The big shake-up is what we are calling it because this is unprecedented, a red letter day as far as Indian corporate history is concerned. A day after the biggest shake-up in the recent history in India, Ratan Tata has returned to Bombay House in absolute executive style to lead the $125 billion empire. His day started with a meeting as far as chief executives of all the group companies are concerned. Creating shareholder value is the big motive and is the big focus. Cyrus Mistry's ouster as the chairman had surprised everyone, including the Shapoorji Pallonji Group. A legal tussle, the remnants of which lie ahead, with the Tata Group filing a caveat in different forums so that they are heard before any verdict is given or any justification is heard before a final call is indeed taken. Let's take it straight across then to an expert panel that joins us right here on ET Now. Dr. Rajiv Kumar. Sandeep Parekh is going to be with us shortly. Hitesh Jain is there. Mohit Saraf joins us from Luthra & Luthra in Delhi. And of course, our very own Abhinav Adas to take us through more details there. Thanks each one of you for being with us. And Abhi, because you're the insider who's been speaking to the Tata Sons, let's begin to talk to you about 24 hours done, the big headlines over. Can it be business as usual? Can life really carry on in Bombay House like it did till previous evening?
Well, that's the message that Ratan Tata wanted to give out today. In fact, if you look at the way he conducted his meetings with the group CEOs, the one clear message is that focus here on your business. Don't worry about leadership change, because right now there's been a lot of concerns about the way Cyrus Mistry was asked to go, what kind of an impact it will have on the functioning of various companies. So to that extent, this is a message that came out loud and clear today, and also about focus on profitability. This is something that investors would want to hear about shareholder value, because there are some concerns about Ratan Tata making a comeback, especially when it comes to companies like Tata Steel, because the Cyrus had taken a very dispassionate view that a loss-making unit like Tata Steel UK needed to be sold off. This is something where Ratan Tata clearly doesn't agree with him, and clearly it seems to suggest the Tata values, Tata ethics, the Tata legacy that was there is very different from what was practiced in the last 3-4 years. So in that context, Ratan Tata wants to make it very clear that it's business as usual. Focus on the companies, focus on competition. Don't compare yourself with the past, but compare yourself with your rivals so that you can grab market share.
Indeed. Thanks very much for those opening comments, Abhi, and we'll keep coming to you all through the show. But Dr. Rajiv Kumar, you've written extensively on this, and I want to quickly pick your brains. The question that I asked Abhinav, now that the dust has settled, can it be business as usual at the Tata Group, really?
Well, this is what Mr. Ratan Tata would like us to believe, and this is what he would actually try for. But I think it depends entirely on what the reaction is from the Shapoorji Pallonji Group and from Mr. Cyrus Mistry himself. So if they do decide to approach the corporate law board, as has been the news coming out throughout the day, then I suppose it will not be business as usual. When the second sort of slightly, I think, more substantive or a more durable point would be that I can't see another CEO taking over the Tata Sons chairmanship under the circumstances that Mr. Mistry has had to go and feel confident or feel in charge. And so therefore, if that is the case, then I don't think it can be business as usual, because whoever takes that position would constantly be watching, for such, such snipings, etc. So I am afraid it will not be business as usual.
All right, Rajiv Kumar is being candid there. He's afraid it can't be business as usual. The dust may have settled. But Mohit Saraf, thank you very much for returning to ET Now a day after. Can it be business as usual? Can life go on at Bombay House as if nothing really transpired? There's been just a change of guard. Very soon there will be a successor. Even though it was an unceremonious exit for Cyrus Mistry, Ratan Tata has made a comeback. There was an obvious clash in working styles, in approach to businesses. It's no longer a secret that was being discussed at Bombay House. It's out there in the open, in print and in electronic media being played out.
I think it is a business as usual. I think whatever has happened has happened. Tata Trust, being the majority shareholder, had a nominee who was the CEO of the company or a chairman, and whatever reason it did not work out for the shareholders' interest, and he's been asked to leave. So really, at the end of the day, yes, because it's Tata as a group, it looks more important, and you see that, okay, this is not a right way to do it, and we can understand all these issues, and that all depends on what really went behind. But I would say really removing a nominee, a larger shareholder removing his nominee as a chairman, it is a normal thing. It does look strange, that's okay, but I think should be business as usual. And Tata Trust is interested to make sure that their investments do well, and they have to get a right chairman and right CEO who run the business. So it is largely business as usual, but there can be disruption, there can be litigation, and I'm sure the Tatas as a group have to think about that issue.
All right, I'm going to touch upon the litigation in just a bit, because I've got two eminent lawyers, both Mohit Saraf and Hitesh Jain, who are with us. But Abhinaba, you raised the point that we wanted to discuss next, which is financial performance. I mean, the fact that he told CEOs to focus on profitability, to focus on growth. Does the statement somewhere indicate that the trust was not happy with the financial performance under Cyrus Mistry? There were no obvious plans for profitable growth. There were no short-term fixes as far as businesses that were reeling under pressure was concerned. Is that a safe assumption to make at this stage?
Fairly safe assumption, Supriya. In fact, if you look at the era of the new chair, Cyrus Mistry, one thing is very clear, that he wanted to undo things that Ratan Tata had done. Whether it comes to the way the group dealt with Tata Steel UK, this is not something which would go down well with Ratan Tata, because the Chorus acquisition was a very prestigious acquisition for the Tata Group, and that is something which was led by Ratan Tata himself. So the way Cyrus went about trying to sell the assets is not something that the Tata Sons board was very happy about. Also, if you look at the tussle, the slugfest with Docomo, I mean, that thing has been going on for a very long time, and it doesn't bring in too much repute for the Tata Group per se. But yes, I mean, as Mohit was pointing out, I mean, if you look at the chairman, Cyrus Mistry, he had a 4-year run. And today, 4 years down the road, the Tata Sons board, in their own wisdom, thinks that maybe he's not the best bet going forward for the group. And that's a call that the group has taken. So to that extent, he's got a run. Today, the board, the majority members of the board are not happy with the way things are going. And they take a call that maybe it's better to undo some of the things that have been done in the last 3-4 years.
Right. Abhi, just hold your thoughts there, because it's important to get in Hitesh Jain as well at this stage. And Hitesh, the debate is really now veering towards whether on legal grounds, and a legal tussle does lie ahead. Tata Group as a whole has filed some caveats in different forums to avoid any possibility of not being heard. But the Mistry camp has so far said that they're not going to move to litigation just yet. What are we really staring at? Are we staring at a wait and watch Cyrus Mistry? Are we staring at a prolonged legal battle? I mean, I've been speaking to lawyers who were actually on their way to Mumbai for this. What exactly are we staring at this stage?
Well, 2 or 3 quick points. First point, caveat is always a precautionary step, which is usually taken in when such a serious decision has been made. They don't want any decision to be made ex parte by the court. They want to participate in the court proceeding. So whatever is the decision should be the outcome after hearing both the sides. So I don't read anything in the caveat except looking at that as a precautionary step. Second, insofar as removal of chairman is concerned, now under the Companies Act also there is no such concept of defined term of chairman and all. Basically, chairman is something who is appointed by the board of directors. Chairman enjoys the confidence of the board, and the other related provisions you can see in the articles of association, which deals as to if the chairman, which may deal with the provisions regarding appointment and removal of chairman is concerned. Since yesterday I have maintained that if the challenge is going to be purely on the show cause notice, natural justice, it's going to be like a very hyper technical ground, and I don't think somebody like Cyrus Mistry, who is also a seasoned person, is going to challenge on the pure technical grounds of notice or natural justice or show cause notice or all other grounds. if there has to be any challenge, it has to be substantial, it has to go beyond the technicalities of notice and hearing and all. So we have to wait for that. Now, second thing is that it's a part of a strategy where there may not be a knee-jerk reaction to the decision of removal. They may think about it. Shapoorji Pallonji is also, as a group, they have a minority shareholding. They may consider their options as to what actions. Should they bring an action for the removal, or should they bring the action to protect the interest of minorities? Now, this is a part of the strategy. One can see something like an action being brought for mismanagement by a majority shareholder, because to bring an action for removal of chairman, not such a strong ground, but maybe possibilities they will consider that minority action.
All right, Hitesh Jain, just hold your thoughts there, because I do have a representation from the Tata Group. Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi joins us live right here on ET Now on the phone line. Thanks very much, Mr. Singhvi, for being with us. You are obviously one of the finest legal eagles, and there is every reason why the Tata Group is tapping your expertise at this stage. Are we staring at a prolonged legal battle is the question that I've been asking people, but somebody who has a skin in the game now, would you expound upon that? Are we staring at a prolonged legal battle?
I am sorry to disappoint you, as I told your representative, since I'm appearing as senior counsel in the possible dispute. I am not going to comment a word on the merits. What I am going to say is what I have said and tweeted. And if you'll give me less than a minute, I can just summarize that. I think it's a sad day for everyone concerned. They're all very senior and sober persons. I don't think anybody does these things in a very desirable or a happy format. But when the board loses confidence in you as chairman, then it is in a sense inevitable. Now, Ratan Tata is known for his great dignity, sobriety, and whatever he does is in the interest of the Tata Group. The board has taken a reasoned decision, but don't think that it is a kind of a scoring of debating points or a triumphant snide remarks or, I told you so's. We have noted Mr. Mistry's statement today, and let us wait and see, because statesmanship could still, diffuse and solve the problem. However, ultimately the courts are always there for decision making.
Mr. Singhvi, I really appreciate the fact that you're taking a very, very, extended approach to this. You do not want to get involved with the legalities just yet. You want it to be resolved amicably, and with statesmen like Ratan Tata, that's what one expects. But one is tempted to ask you, because you've seen these boardroom battles, one is tempted to ask you, could this have been done any differently? I buy your point that when the board loses confidence in a chairman, you've just got to get rid of him. But could this have been done any differently? Because this is unprecedented as far as Indian corporate history is concerned.
Well, you see, as I said, for none of the stakeholders in this, is this an option of first choice. For none of the stakeholders is this done very happily or desirably. But when a overwhelming majority of the board believes that they have lost confidence in the chairman, it's very important to remember that Mr. Mistry remains a director. Well, then I think in all corporate management, the board's wishes and mandate are supreme. And therefore, to read anything more than that in it would be wrong. But certainly, in the event that somebody seeks legal recall, then I suppose everybody has to go to the legal path. But as I said, everybody hopes and wishes that statesmanship will avoid it and solve it. Okay, I'm in a flight, so I may have to take your leave.
Thank you very much for joining us right here on ET Now, sir. We wish you the very best if ever this case were to go to the courts. But thank you very much for joining us with your perspective there. Let's take this across to Sandeep Parekh, who's joining us live as well. And Sandeep, thank you very much for being with us. There is a question that I asked Abhishek Manu Singhvi, and considering you're a champion of corporate boardroom stories here, one is tempted to ask you, could this have been done any differently? The board lost confidence in Cyrus Mistry, asked him to step down. Ratan Tata comes in, they will look for a successor. It's an interesting story. It's almost like a pot boiler. Could this pot boiler have been scripted any differently, you think?
Absolutely. I think that this whole pot boiler bid, the kind of machinations, the backroom dealings, the legal opinions obtained probably weeks or months in advance,
I think all this could have been avoided. I mean, if you lose confidence, you kind of confront a person and say that we no longer think you're competent for this job. So I think almost everything which has happened yesterday was completely avoidable. There should be not just compliance with the legal provisions, but I think they should have complied with the highest sense of ethics, which Tata is famous not just in India but all over the world. So I would think that they've kind of acted way below their own dignity. So that's where that's what I think.
Fair point indeed, and to evoke statesmanship now is a little premature and perhaps a little too late in the day. But let's take this across to Dr. Rajiv Kumar. What do you make of the role of the board? I mean, we've discussed what the Shapoorji Pallonji Group has said. We've discussed what has happened at Tata Sons. We've talked about Tata Trust. But what about the role of the independent directors? I mean, some top-notch names really there at Tata Sons, Dr. Kumar.
Well, I think this brings into limelight or into question the role of independent directors on any board in this country. As to how much independence do they really enjoy, or do they follow some unnamed leader or promoter or whatever. And I'm not sure. And I would actually suggest that just like the Monetary Policy Committee in the Reserve Bank of India, boards of such large corporations which have huge public interest linked to them because of the very widespread shareholding should actually minute their own decisions, so that one comes out as to so that one knows as to why they took the decision that they took, because actually that would be just fair for the shareholder value which Mr. Ratan Tata wants to create.
Fair point indeed. Shareholder value that Ratan Tata wants to create. Abhinava, you've been on the phone line with Tata Sons and insiders there. But the question that one has also not raised so far is, and then the question that Mr. Dr. Kumar just answered, the role of independent directors. And it raises a lot of questions, not just here, but the role of independent directors at large in India. When do they rise to the occasion? When is it that they take a call? Should the call have been taken the way it was taken? Is there any sense that you're getting as to how the board did manage to take this decision? It surely couldn't have been 3 people in the board who decided that Cyrus Mistry has to leave.
Absolutely, Supriya. In fact, if you look at the role of non-executive directors in India, they've been a passive lot, not just for Tata Sons, for most other companies. And we've seen this happen with very large number of companies wherein we don't get any clarity on what the thinking is for as far as the non-executive directors are concerned, and they go with the executive lot. So, for example, in this case, if you look at the way Cyrus was summarily asked to go, definitely the reason should have been made very, very clear, because there is absolutely no clarity on what grounds Cyrus Mistry was sacked. And that's something every shareholder is entitled to know that. Because if you look at Cyrus Mistry, he would continue to be on the board of Tata Sons as a director. Right now, he is the chairman for most of the Tata companies, although that maybe over a period of time, he'll be removed from there. But a person like Cyrus Mistry, I need to know as a shareholder what are the charges against him, whether I am comfortable with Cyrus being a chairman of a company where I am a shareholder. So these are things which needs to be answered, and more importantly, the role of the independent directors. I mean, they have absolutely no say whatsoever. That's what it looks like.
That's an important point that you're bringing about. I'm tempted to take this forward to Sandeep Parekh, but I will actually come back to the legality and take a final word with Sandeep there. The question is really coming your way, Mohit Saraf, and this really has to do with the point that Abhinava made, that Cyrus Mistry is actually going to continue over a period of time, be removed from the chairmanship of various listed entities. He will be on the boards of all these companies, and if a valid reason is not given, why should a shareholder be comfortable with something like that? What is the legal aspect on something like this? You can be removed from chairmanship, but you can continue to be on the board. And how tough legally and practically is it to really carry forward with that?
Actually, if you look at it, I think this whole question is getting a little confused. He was really, when you call a chairman, he was like a CEO. Though he was called a chairman, but he was like a CEO. He had a contractual arrangement. He was a director on the board and also what is called a chairman, like a managing director. Being that whenever the board meeting was conducted, he was the chairman of the board. So really what he's been removed is, he's been removed as the CEO, which was called the chairman for the group. And this was a contractual matter, and that is fine. I think every majority shareholder has a right to do that. And the second important part is that I think you asked an interesting question, that can this be done, could this be done differently? And really at the end of the day, because we are not privy to what really what was the interaction, what was being discussed at the board level, it will be very different. Maybe a lot of these things were, because all these people were statesmen, they all exhausted the right way for the exit and it did not happen, and therefore this had to be done the way it had to be done. But he was not removed as a board member, so he still continues as a board member. I have looked at the Director 12 filing which the group has done yesterday and I see on the website that from an executive director, he's become a non-executive director. So really that is a filing, and he is still a board member, but he does not have any executive powers which he had as a chairman. And chairman, we should not confuse chairman as a chairman of the board. He was chairman, but he was really the managing director of Tata Sons, and by virtue of being a managing director, the chairman, he was on the board of all the other listed and unlisted companies.
Okay, I have time for two quick closing comments, and those will have to come both to Hitesh Jain. And Hitesh, let me ask you this question. This whole legal tussle, I mean, it's all right for Abhishek Manu Singhvi to today say they should also show statesmanship, it should be amicable, but partitions like this or gestures like this aren't amicable gestures. There was an obvious clash of personality there. What does this legal tussle really do for a brand like Tata? I mean, you know, everybody's spoken about Tata's ethics, Tata's ethos. What happens to all of that today?
Well, frankly speaking, what happens is there is a decision that has been taken. Obviously, legally, yes, I mean, whether they can remove, we have discussed and all. But perceptionally, people, when you claim that you are a group which represents the large company, perceptionally, people are asking the questions as to what has happened. Please inform us. I mean, whether it is a performance, what has happened where the board was required to take the decision. Now, this is one air, irrespective of everything, they will have to clear. Because for a group, any decision which they have taken when they are a listed company, which is shrouded in a secrecy, it leads to a lot of rumors, it leads to a lot of speculation, and it is not in the interest of the group where people should sit and rumor and speculate. So earlier the better, the group should come out, they should state its position very clearly. But looking at the situation where the things may go legal, there is a posturing on taking some actions. Since yesterday that statement came that the decision of removal is illegal, obviously the statement gets guarded. So I guess over a period of time, one will have to wait and watch as to what are the proceedings, because it seems that Cyrus Mistry or Shapoorji Pallonji Group, if anybody has to go to the court, it is they who will have to go to the court. So one will have to wait and see, watch as to what they take the step. And also on the other hand, we will have to see as to whether Tatas will come out and disclose the reasons as to what prompted the board to take such a decision.
Right. Indeed. Sandeep Parekh, we'll let you have the last word on this discussion, and it's an important question that's coming your way, that the Tata should come out with the exact reason, because Cyrus Mistry is A, going to continue on the board, and of course the succession. I mean, as a shareholder, I would want to know what went wrong. A, I'm not a shareholder, but as a shareholder, people would want to know. And B, the question will have to be about succession. They will have to look perhaps beyond the community that they have just been nominating from. What happens there? Does this not require more transparency? Does this not require more open communication than we've got so far?
Certainly it does. So let me divide the answer into two parts. First is Tata Sons, which is a private limited company, and it's opaque, closely held by just few charities and the Shapoorji Pallonji Group. And the other is the whole vast group range of companies, most of which are listed companies, and that's almost $100 billion worth of investments, of which the Tatas have a significant stake. So I think we need to look at it from both angles. Let me first look at it from the first angle, which is the shareholders of Tata Sons itself is primarily 82% odd is charitable trust. So the question of both, not just independent directors, but all directors' fiduciary duty comes in, whether they acted in the best interest of the shareholders and the company. The second issue is really with respect to the listed companies, and there again there's a huge cataclysmic change, and therefore transparency, disclosures, proper accountability. Why was he removed? I mean, we've seen all the metrics in papers today, including ET, which show that his performance kind of beat the benchmark indices. So I think overall, I think as the economist said 2-3 months back, Tata Group is a $100 billion elephant which is lumbering. I think we just saw the elephant being shot in the trunk today. So it's kind of, I think it's a bit dazed, and it will certainly hurt the rest of the body. Whether it's able to climb, walk again and, be its old towering, even if lumbering self, that we'll need to wait and see.
We will indeed have to wait and see that, but very seldom have lumbering elephants gotten back to being sprint warriors. But thank you very much, each one of you, Dr. Rajiv Kumar, Abhinav Badas, Sandeep Parekh, Mohit Saraf and Hitesh Jain for joining us on this edition of the special show that we've just done for you. News and analysis continues right here on ET Now.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.